I recently watched a special on HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, and the special was on Norway and the way that their youth sports is set up and organized. It's a bit of a revolutionary strategy in order to do this. And what was interesting was that in both winter and now summer Olympic sports, Norway has been really rising in the charts and in the medal counts, becoming one of the world's most powerful developers of world-class athletes and Olympians. And there was a lot of things that resonated with me as things that we have seen here in this country in regards to things like every kid gets a trophy and the every kid gets a trophy generation, and some of the things that they did included they don't keep score, no winners are declared, and this happens all the way up from the start of their youth sports programs all the way through about ages 12 or 13. And the coaches that I had growing up, my teammates growing up, these guys, and even through college, really, this is something that we grew up on tough love, and this was we always got yelled at in practice. We were doing all the sprints and stuff, and I know that college coaches are really getting away from that these days, and I think we have developed a bit of a disdain for that new approach. And, we think the kids these days are weak. And I think that maybe the initial viewpoint on it all was in line with our viewpoint, and not to say that this is where they were, that the Norwegians are truly are getting this information from. But as I studied more about the human body, more about neurology, specifically neurology, my mind began to change while watching this documentary, because what I'm realizing is that from ages 0 to 13 is the most critical time for development of a human being, and specifically an athlete. And if we're going to try to construct an elite level athlete, what we need to do here is take into consideration the fact that they're a clean slate, and we're trying to put in the neocortical associations that are in line with that and those of an elite level athlete. Now, there's a lot of things that go into what it takes to be at those high levels, and an elite mind is an absolute requirement of an elite level athlete. One of the things that I like to talk all the time about is the difference between performing a high level task alone in your backyard and then comparing that to performing that same task in front of 20,000 people at an NBA game, or 50,000 people at an MLB game, or 100,000 people at a college football game. There's a big difference there, and the mind needs to be working in sync with those goals in order to make that happen. When we're talking about the neocortex is basically a blank slate. It runs off of memory, it runs off of prediction, and when you don't have anything to predict off of because you don't have any memory, you truly are a blank slate. So you need to make sure that the way that your brain is going to function based on that neocortex and the physiology that unfolds off of that, you want it to unfold off in a positive manner when you're performing elite, or when you're just performing athletic maneuvers. These situations where you are promoting a positive environment, these situations where you are promoting a non-pressured filled game atmosphere, you actually might be promoting several positive habits that are really challenging to cultivate under the old school tough love model. By approaching youth athletes in this manner, we're going to make the sport a lot more enjoyable, which is going to create a dopaminergic reaction, making them want to play the game. By making them want to play the game, we may create a desire, an instinctive desire, a neurological desire to seek out more dopamine, which will make them want to work on their game more. Having somebody want to work on their game will make the practice much, much more effective. And then what's also going to happen is we're going to release that neurological emergency brake, which is going to allow us to have a lot more movement variability and set the stage for lifelong movement success. This is what my upcoming Building an Elite Athlete seminar is going to be all about, because this is so important. And I think for people who have judged in either one way or the other, the every kid gets a trophy generation, and this maybe soft softer approach to these kids. Yes, I agree that this maybe makes the kids a little bit more soft when it comes to competitive environments. Maybe they're not as competitive, but when we're talking about breeding a neurological savage along with an elite level athlete, this may be a much more effective approach. What do you guys think?